So, let's demystify a real powerhouse in the world of industrial automation, Siemens TIA Portal. You ever look at a giant factory robot and wonder how it knows exactly what to do? Well, the secret's in the software. And today, we're going to break down one of the most important tools out there, starting right from square one.
Here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the big problem automation engineers used to have. Then we'll see how Siemens came up with a brilliant solution. We'll check out the software's two main interfaces, and then we're going to walk step by step through creating and setting up your very first project. By the end, you'll be all set for the really fun part, writing the actual code.
Okay, so to really get why TIA Portal is such a big deal, we've got to understand the challenge it was designed to solve. We're talking about teaching huge, complex machines how to think, and that all boils down to one simple question.
Right? How do you tell a robotic arm to grab a car door or a conveyor belt when it needs to speed up or slow down? Well, the brain inside these machines is a special industrial computer called a PLC, a programmable logic controller. And just like any computer, it's just a paperweight without software to tell it what to do. And for the longest time, that whole process was, well, it was a complete mess.
See, before TIA Portal came along, a single project was a massive headache. You had to juggle totally separate programs for every little thing. One piece of software for the PLC brain, a different one for the operator screens, and yep, a third one for the motor drives. It was an absolute logistical nightmare of trying to get them all to talk to each other, dealing with version conflicts. It was like trying to build a car with 3 different toolboxes that were all in different languages.
So, to fix this disaster, Siemens came up with a total game changer, a single, unified platform that works like a Swiss Army knife for the whole project. And that, of course, is the TIA Portal. TIA actually stands for Totally Integrated Automation, and really, the name says it all. It brings all the tools for the controllers, the screens, the drives, everything into one powerful place. The benefit is just beautifully simple. One project, one program. Problem solved.
Okay. So when you first fire up TIA Portal, it doesn't just toss you into the deep end. It gives you a choice between 2 different ways to work, which are known as views. The first option is called the Portal view. Think of this as your friendly guide. It's task-oriented, and it walks you through the whole process step by step. It's absolutely perfect for beginners. The other choice is the Project view. Now, this is a more classic, traditional layout that experienced pros will find really familiar. For this explainer, we're definitely going to stick with the super friendly Portal view.
All right, time to get our hands dirty and actually build our first project. And you're about to see just how ridiculously fast this is.
Seriously, it could not be any easier. It's just 3 clicks. You open the portal and hit Create New Project. You give it a name, something like My First Project, and then you click Create. And that's it. The software literally builds the entire project framework for you behind the scenes.
So right now, our project is like an empty shell. It's just a folder waiting for stuff. So now we have to tell the software what physical hardware, what specific PLC we're actually going to be controlling. This part is so important. What we're doing here is essentially building a digital twin, a perfect digital copy of our real-world PLC right inside the project.
And from that main portal screen, the workflow really guides you. First, we click Configure a device, and then Add new device. This opens up this huge catalog of pretty much every piece of hardware Siemens makes. We just have to find our controller in that list and click Add.
For this example, we're going to pick a really common and versatile controller, the S7-1200. We'll drill down a bit and select the exact model, the CPU's 1214C. Now, as soon as we add it, you'll see the software automatically switches us over to that project view we talked about, so we can see our hardware configuration.
So this specific controller has a lot of power built right in. It comes with 14 digital inputs. That's for connecting things like push buttons and sensors. It has 10 digital outputs to control things like lights or small motors. And it even has 5 analog inputs for more precise stuff, like a temperature sensor. This I/O, these inputs and outputs, are how our PLC senses and interacts with the real world. But what if your project needs more? What if you have, say, 20 sensors but only 14 inputs? No problem at all. You see that hardware catalog on the right side of the screen? You just find an extra input module, and you literally just drag it and drop it onto the virtual rack next to your CPU. It just snaps right into place. Expanding your system is that easy. So,
With our hardware all picked out and in place, there's one last super critical step. We need to get the software to double-check our work and make sure our whole setup is valid.
We do this by compiling the hardware. Think of it like hitting spell check for your hardware configuration. It just makes sure all the pieces fit together and are set up correctly. And after a moment, we get the best message you can possibly see. 0 errors, 0 warnings. That means our digital blueprint is perfect. Our system is now fully configured, and it's just waiting for us to write the program, the logic that's going to bring this whole thing to life.
And just like that, there you have it. We went from a complicated problem to a fully configured project that's ready to be programmed. The entire foundation has been laid. So the only real question left is, with this kind of power at your fingertips, what are you going to build first?